I'm sure. Okay. Well, no one's here yet, but I'll introduce myself for the recording. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for our June virtual health webinar. My name's Samantha. I work on our health team with Special Olympics New York. And we are joined with Jenna Piezzo tonight. She is a public health professional and a certified health education specialist. And she'll be talking to us about some summer safety tips, whether you're going to the beach, you're going to be in the sun, in the water. Maybe you'll be going on hikes or, just in general, wherever you might end up this summer, some tips to stay cool, stay safe, stay healthy and fit, and all of that good stuff. So I'm sure that we'll learn a lot. Jenna, thank you for joining us. We really
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
And yeah, I'm just gonna let you take it away. And just so everyone knows, I will record this and share the presentation with everybody after the fact. But yeah, without further ado, you can take it away.
All right. Well, hello. Yes, my name's Jenna. I am a certified health education specialist, and today we're just going to be going over just some summer safety tips and that's not fun in the sun while staying safe. All right. So our objectives for today, we're going to be going over water and pool safety, beach and lake safety, sun safety, hydration, and outdoor fun. Um, go to the next one. So I wanted to start off today just by asking everyone, what are some things that just remind you of the summertime?
Hmm. I would say the beach. Every year I go to the beach and just when I think of summer, that's what I think about.
I say probably, but being hot outside, humid,
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that feels very relevant for today.
and
Yes,
and thunderstorms, bad thunderstorms. The heat
yes.
brings in. There you
The
go.
heat definitely brings in bad thunder.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, great. For me, I think about going to the ocean, swimming
Mhm.
in pools. I think summertime is the time I'm outdoors the most.
Mhm.
Um, So it's very important to learn some safety tips while we go into the summer with the heat coming, especially this week with the heat
Mhm.
waves and the heat warnings. Some of these things are going to be very important to know.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to first go off by starting with pool safety. So when you're in a pool, you only want to go swim when a lifeguard is on duty. So lifeguards are trained to recognize emergencies and respond quickly. Even the strongest swimmers can experience cramps, they can get tired, or have unexpected accidents. So having a lifeguard at the pool presents um as an extra layer of safety for everyone. When you go to a pool, you're going to want to know the difference between a shallow and a deep end of the pool. So especially in big public pools, you're going to want to see if there's a shallow part or deep end, especially if you're trying to jump in or dive into the pool. So you're going to want to stay in areas that match your swimming ability and level. The deep end may be challenging for some swimmers because it can increase the risk for panic or exhaustion. Some of the pools that you go to may have pool markers that show the differences in the how deep the pool is. So you want to pay attention to that on the sides of the pool as well. It can say 3 feet up to 6 feet. So you want to see how deep the pool is on each side. It's very important to not dive into a pool head first. You always are going to want to go into a pool with your feet first, just to make sure you understand how deep it is and your comfort of swimming ability. Next is always important to walk carefully around the pool. Pool decks can be very slippery when it's wet, so running around the pool can increase the risk of falls, cuts, and other injuries. And a very important tip as well is to always have a designated water watcher. This can be a lifeguard, or if there's no lifeguard present, a trusted adult whose only job at the pool is to watch swimmers. Drowning can happen very quickly and silent. So it's important that all bodies of water, whether it's a small pool, a kiddie pool, um, all should have at least a lifeguard or a adult present to watch. Okay, so next we're going to beach and lake safety. For me, I love going to the beach and lake during the summer. It's very important to understand some tips to stay safe while you're there. So when you're at a beach or a lake, you always want to check the weather before you get to the beach. If storms are coming, it's important to leave the beach as waves can become very strong and dangerous. You're only going to want to swim once again when the lifeguard is on duty. I'll probably repeat this a bunch of times, but it's very important to always swim when the lifeguard is on duty, especially at a beach or a lake. At pools, it's very important as well, but to have a supervised adult watching. And then at a beach, if a lifeguard stand is laying down or lifeguard is not at the stand, it's important to stay alert and get out of the water until they come back. They might be taking breaks, going off ship, or going to an emergency. So it's very important to stay vigilant when the lifeguard is not around. Even when water looks calm, there could be waves or currents that can be dangerous very quickly. You never want to swim in any body of water alone, regardless of your swim level. And when swimming in the ocean, you want to pay attention to the areas the lifeguards are watching. There's going to be sometimes there's flag posts of where the lifeguards are watching the water. If you're beyond that flag post, you're going to want to just take notice and go back to the area that the lifeguard is watching. And then there's several different warning flags at the beach that you may see or a big lake. So I'll go over those different warnings and the flags on the next slide just to understand the differences. All right. Has anyone here seen any of these flags at a beach or a lake?
I think I have at the beach, yeah. When I go to Rhode Island, usually.
Yes. So I remember just going to the beach and never knowing what the flags meant. And I was going being, well, I don't know what each color means. So we're just gonna go over that in case you see different flags at the beach, just to understand what they mean. So the green flags mean that it's calm water. This is the best type of flag you might get. That just means that there's calm water, but you still want to be very cautious because there may not be a lifeguard present. So you always want to make sure when you go, even if there's a green flag, you want to make sure there's a lifeguard there watching the water. A yellow flag means there's a medium hazard. So the water's a bit rough. So definitely follow extreme caution and definitely see if there's a lifeguard still on duty. Yellow, the water can be a bit iffy, so just be mindful of how strong of a swimmer you are. Red over yellow, so it's going to be the top of the part of the flag is red and the bottom part is yellow. That means there's a lifeguard supervision. So these flags usually come out more so when the flags would be medium hazard. That means that the water may be a bit rough, not the most calm, but there are lifeguards on duty watching and supervising. So even if there is the red over yellow with a lifeguard supervision, just make sure you understand the differences. And even if the water's a little rough and there are lifeguards, maybe just stay back a little bit. Now, if there's a red flag, that means there's high hazard. That means the water can be very dangerous. There can be riptides, strong currents, big waves. That's when you do not want to go in the water at all. All right, that could be when there's a storm coming in, it might be raining. Red flags, you don't want to go. A double red flag means water is fully off limits. The beach is closed. That means no one in the public can go into the water at all. And then purple means that there may be dangerous wildlife there, such as stingrays. So be very cautious. Really stay away from the water if a purple flag is up as well, just because you maybe some dangerous wildlife there that you don't know what's in the water. And it's very important to note that when the flags are not present, it does not mean that there's no warnings. Lifeguards just may not be on duty. Um, so always follow precaution and only swim when there's a lifeguard on duty. All right. So now we're going to go to rip currents. Does anyone here know what a rip current is?
I think it might be like waves, big waves.
Okay. Anyone else have an idea?
Not sure exactly what it is, kind of like what Kevin said. Like I've heard of them when the waves are like really rough, but I know that they can kind of like take you away and they're very dangerous.
I think rip currents are big waves, one after another.
All right, great. Yeah, so rip currents are actually um it's a very important topic to go over just because if you go to an ocean, especially if you're not used to going to the ocean or the beach often, it's very important if you hear that there's rip currents or there's a red flag at the beach. So rip current is a strong current of water that moves away from the shore toward the deeper water. So it can be very close to shore, moving into the deep water. Um, Even the strongest of swimmers and lifeguards can get a hard time getting out back to shore if they get caught in a rip current. So even if you're close to shore to swimming, it's likely that you can be stuck in rip currents. So you just want to know understand what rip currents are and how to get away. So before you swim, you're always going to want to check around the beach to see if there's those warning signs that we went over in the last slide. Um, Especially if there's the red flags, means that there's dangerous water conditions, so you want to stay out of the water. Those are there to keep everyone safe. So rip currents aren't necessarily just big waves coming in. Big waves can be dangerous as is because it's hard to catch your breath, but rip currents can be big waves and then the currents are pulling you back. So it's just hard to get out of because it pulls you back. A way to get out of a current is to swim parallel to the shore. Instead of trying to go forward or backwards, you want to stay parallel or stay as calm as you can and use your hands in the water to show that you are struggling. That's the best way the lifeguards understand that someone is in need of danger is if you wave your hands above your head, one or both. Um, they will understand that someone is in need and needs to get rescued. It's very important to know that over 80% of rescues by lifeguards are due to rip currents. So, once again, if you hear that there are any rip currents or any red flags at the beach, you always want to stay away from the water. And that emphasizes the importance of never going into the ocean without a lifeguard there because you may not know what the water is going to be like unless you can ask a lifeguard. Okay, so we've talked about staying safe by understanding the water and paying attention to beach conditions. Now we can go over a few simple steps that can make a difference anytime you're around water, whether you're at the beach, the lake, or a pool. So you want to wear bright colors to make it easier to spot the bodies of water. There's flotation devices, specifically U.S. Coast Guard life jackets, are very important to wear, especially for weaker swimmers. This can be in any body of water, such as a pool, but definitely if you're going into a big body like an ocean or a lake, it's very important to wear U.S. Coast Guard life jackets at all times. Those are the flotation devices. Um, and if you are an adult enjoying beverages such as alcohol, it's very important to not head into any body of water while intoxicated. This can make you make some decisions and it can make you feel off balanced. So if you are enjoying alcoholic beverages, you want to stay safe and drink it after you're swimming or don't go swimming at all. All right, now I'm going to ask, why is it important to wear sunscreen?
So you don't get sunburn and stuff. And it can cause skin cancer too if you get burned too bad. You can.
Yes,
Yep.
definitely. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. And then may I ask, does anyone here wear sunscreen before going out in the sun?
I don't I used to have some, but I can't use it right now because I have to get a different one for because I can't use some with perfume smell in it. So I have to
Oh,
look for one that doesn't have the smell in it because it irritates my skin. It does.
yes,
Yeah.
So
that's
I gotta
important.
find one.
I wear it on my face every day. Like even if I'm not going out in the sun, but if I go out in the sun, then like if I'm going to the beach or like going swimming, I'll usually like pretty much always put it on my whole body.
All right, great. Yes, I also always wear it on my face, even in the winter months, just to protect my face, because even if I'm driving or going outside, your face can be exposed, even if you're wearing long sleeves. Um, so yes. All right, great. All right. So we talked about staying safe in this water. Now it's time to move on to summer safety topic that affects everyone. That is protecting yourself from the sun. So sun exposure or UV rays, um, that's invisible radiation that comes from the sun that can affect your skin and your eyes. So being out in the sun without any protection can lead to sunburns and even skin cancer. That could lead to a severe sunburn, also known as sun poisoning. That can make you feel a bit ill and sick. If you ever get a sun poisoning or a really bad sunburn, it's always recommended to go to a medical professional and just consult your doctor to see if they may be able to help or give you some ointments. And a tip is you can always check UV rays by going on your weather app on most phones or computers before heading out to enjoy your summer day. So sun exposure is at its highest in the middle of the day. And anytime the UV is above a 3, you're always going to want to wear sunscreen. So does everyone here know where to find the UV rays on your weather app?
I think so, but I'm looking at it right now to try and remember where it is.
Yeah, so if you open your weather app, or if you don't have a weather app, you can just go on the weatherchannel.com. And then on the daily, whatever day you're on, if you're on your app, you can scroll all the way down and it'll say UV. And it will show you what the UV is currently, and then you can press on the UV and check the UV in the different times of day. If you're on the weatherchannel.com, you can just go onto the day you're on. So you pick today, and then also scroll down and it'll show you the UV. So if the UV is above a 3, which today in most parts of New York, I believe it was way above a 3, you're gonna want to wear sunscreen anytime you're outside to protect your skin. Okay. Oh, let's skipped. Okay. So now we know why sun protection is important. Let's look at some simple ways to protect ourselves whenever we're outside this summer. So using sunscreen protects our skin from the sun's UV rays and exposure. Using a sunscreen that's over SPF 30 or higher, that's very important. You're not going to want to use one that's under an SPF of 30. And then you can check this by if you're going in the store, you'll see a big number on the sunscreen bottle. Anything above a 30 is good. If you have more sensitive skin, you may want to have higher SPF, such as 50 or 100. Just protect yourself from getting sunburned. Sunscreen should be reapplied every 2 hours if you're out in the sun. But if you're out swimming or you're using a towel to rub the water off, you should reapply your sunscreen more often because you're getting the sunscreen off of your body more so. Um, and then also, sunscreen should be applied to your body 30 minutes before exposure. So say you have a baseball game at 12 p.m., you're going to want to put sunscreen on at 11:30 a.m. just to make sure that the sunscreen is absorbed to your body and you're not going to sweat all of it off right when you go to the practice. So 30 minutes before sun exposure is when you're supposed to put sunscreen on. And then sunscreen should be applied to any part of your body that's out in the sun. That includes your scalp, your fingers, your toes, your ears, any part of your body that you're not covered by a hat or clothing is should be covered in sunscreen because that can get burned, especially the parts that you may not think your scalp can get burnt. All right. So knowing the warning signs of heat illness is very important in the summertime. And as I said, this week is very hot all throughout of New York. So this is a very important topic just to know the differences in types of heat illness that people can experience. So the first one is the heat stroke. A heat stroke is when someone experiences very high body temperature, hot skin, confusion, sweating, and they may not be able to think very clearly. Um, some people may sweat, some people may just feel very hot. If you think someone has a heat stroke, this is very serious and can be life-threatening. You want to know the signs, put them in a cool area, and then call 911. So then heat exhaustion, you can get headaches, you can become dizzy, be nauseous, and have elevated thirst and be very thirsty. So if you know these signs, you're going to want to cool down with cold water. You're going to want to drink water. And if you're still feeling a bit off, you want to see a medical provider. And if in emergency, call 911. It's always safe to see a medical provider if you're not feeling very well. And then next is a heat rash and heat cramps. So heat rashes are when you're outside and you may get red bumps or clusters all over you that may look like a rash that comes out of nowhere. That's a heat rash. And then if you get heat cramps, you may just get cramps in your muscles and your legs when you're out in the sun and being hot. So for those, you want to drink water and electrolytes. That could be Gatorade, that can be liquid IV. You want to cool down, go to a cool shaded area. And then once again, if you have symptoms that persist or you still just feel a bit weird, you're gonna want to seek medical care if needed. So knowing these signs can help you stay alert and very safe in hot temperatures. All right, now I want to ask, what are some other ways you can stay safe in the sun besides just sunscreen?
You could wear a hat or like use an umbrella to shade yourself a little bit from the sun.
Yes, definitely. Great. Yep. So we can stay in the shade, as you said. You can wear UV protective clothing. So those are clothings that are protective, just like how sunscreen works. But with UV protective clothing, you don't have to reapply every 2 hours or more often if you're outside running. Um, you can wear sunglasses. Our eyes need UV protection as well. You're gonna want sunglasses with 100% UV protection. It'll say that on the lenses when you get your sunglasses. That can protect your eyes from excess sun exposure. And then this protects us from getting sunburnt eyes. Um, your eyes being exposed to sun without sunglasses can lead to your eyes being sunburned. It can lead to cancer in some cases, and then even cataracts. So it's very important to protect your eyes as well as your skin. And then last, wearing hats is very important. And wearing big hats is the best practice. So big hats with big rims that can protect your shoulders and your body as well. All right. So we're gonna go into staying hydrated this summer. So one of the best ways to prevent many heat-related illnesses that we just went over is by staying hydrated. Water helps our body stay cool, it gives us energy, and it makes us feel our best, especially in these hot summer months. So drinking water is essential to every day, but it becomes very important during the summertime on hot, sunny days. So it's recommended to drink 9 to 13 cups of fluid, not just water, but all fluid. But factors can increase this amount, such as physical activity, the climate, your gender. So if you're running around and you still feel a bit hot, you always just want to drink water consistently, especially during very hot, humid days. Some tips to stay hydrated is to carry around your one of your favorite reusable water bottles to fill up throughout the day. You want to sip on water regularly, not just when you're feeling very thirsty, but you want to sip water when you wake up in the morning. You want to sip water during lunch, after lunch, especially if you're going on a run or going to your sports as athletes. You always want to stay hydrated before and after your sport. Um, and you always want to drink to replace the amount of sweat. So if you're sweating a lot, you're going to want to drink a good amount of water. And then another fun way to increase your hydration is to incorporate fruits and veggies into your diet. Watermelon, cucumber, celery, strawberries. They all have a pretty high amount of water content. So if you um are thirsty, but water's not your favorite thing, maybe you can add those fruits to the water. You can add them just to your diet as well. Just by increasing the fluids in your day can help you stay hydrated and healthy in summer. Okay, so signs of dehydration. In the sun and while playing outside, increasing activity outside can increase the risk of dehydration. So just knowing the signs of dehydration is very important. Some signs are increased thirst, being dizzy, having a dry mouth, having a bad headache, and being nauseous. So if you start to feel dehydrated or thirsty, it's very important to increase your water intake, drink electrolytes such as Gatorade and coconut water, and always rest. If you're feeling dehydrated during your sport or physical activity, make sure you're giving yourself enough time to rest and regroup, because dehydration can lead to serious health effects. Okay, so now we're going to go through a true and false. So the first one is, oh, I showed it. The first one was a pool noodle is a life-saving device. I already showed that it's false, but does anyone know why it may be false?
I don't even know what a pool noodle is.
Okay. So a pool noodle is if you ever go to a pool and you see this long thing that looks like a piece of spaghetti in the pool that's floating around,
Oh yeah.
that's a pool noodle. Yeah. They are silly devices that are in a pool, but some people think sometimes that that could be a life-saving device or a learn how to swim with it. Pool noodles or even like the floaties you may get at Walmart or Target, those are not life-saving devices. The only life-saving device is to get a specifically a US Coast Guard life jacket. That's a life-saving device, but even floaties like a little tube from Target or a pool noodle is not a life-saving device. All right. So the next one is true or false. You should only apply sunscreen every 6 hours.
False.
False.
All
False.
right. Yes, false. And it's because it's recommended to put on sunscreen every 2 hours, or if needed, more than 2 hours if you are swimming, sweating, or using a towel. All right, true or false? It is safe to swim in a body of water during a thunderstorm.
False.
False.
Great. Yep, it is false. This is because thunderstorms can change the safety of water very quickly. This can lead to rough waters and waves. If there's a thunderstorm coming in while you're in a body of water, like a river, ocean, or lake, it's very important to leave. That's the safest way to stay safe. You don't want to be in rough waters. All right, next, true or false? You should always swim with a buddy and or supervision.
True.
True.
Great. True. Yes, it is a great habit to always swim with someone else. The best way in a body of water is with a lifeguard, but if not, always have someone else with you and or someone supervising the water at all times. And then true or false, you do not need sunscreen on cloudy days.
Uh, I say I was gonna say I kind of puzzle. I'm gonna say maybe false on that one.
I think false too.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Yep, it is false. That's a little tricky, right?
Yeah.
So sunscreen should be put on every single day, especially in the summertime. But even if there's clouds outside, you may go to the beach or you might go outside on a run and you're like, well, there's clouds in the sky. I don't need sunscreen. If you look at your weather app or the weather channel, come, you can see that even if it's cloudy, the UV is usually above that 3, and you're gonna want to put sunscreen on to protect yourself because sometimes you can get very bad sunburn even on the cloudiest days. All right, good job. I'm gonna go to the next slide. All right, and I just want to ask everyone, what are some ways that you stay active during the summer?
I say, I was gonna say probably go on like a hiking
Yes,
trail.
that's a great way.
Yeah, I say probably plan a vacation trip somewhere you can,
Yes,
and
it's very fun.
and if you're depends on if you're a kid or if you're an adult, you can like go to camp and stuff.
Yes.
You can.
Yeah, I was gonna say hiking too, and swimming. And then the other thing I just thought of that you mentioned was playing tennis. I'm trying to get more into this summer, so.
Very fun.
Yeah, you can play like you can even play different sports like in the summertime. You
Hmm.
got softball leagues, baseball leagues. They got golf leagues you can join
Hmm.
and stuff.
Hmm.
Yes, definitely. Those are all great ways that's fun over the summer. I'm gonna go over just some other ways you can stay fun, and fun outdoors, even not playing the sports, just different activities. All right. So staying active during the summer, um, you can keep your body moving with these enjoyable activities. So some of us already went over, going on walks, especially in the morning or later in the evening, that's when the temperatures are the coolest. Going on a walk in midday, it can be very hot and humid, especially during heat waves like this week. Um, so some fun ways to do it, you can do it by yourself. You can go on walks with friends, families, and even pets. And then on hot and rainy days, you can stay inside, have a dance party, you can do yoga, you can stretch, you can meditate. Another way that you can actually stay active during the summer, that's not something that people think of an activity, is by gardening or doing yard work. Doing gardening and yard work is a great way to stay active, and you use a lot of muscles that you don't use normally.
There you go, Kevin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the garden work.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I even cut
Um,
my lawn. I do.
oh yeah, that's great exercise too.
Yeah,
You can go on bike rides. When you go on bike rides, don't forget to wear your helmet. It's very important to stay safe and protect your head. Um, Next is swimming. We've went over swimming before, and that's specifically if you know how to swim, and once again, with a lifeguard present. And as you guys talked about, going on hikes is a great way to stay active during the summer. And in fall, when summer months, there's a bunch of different trails and paths open, especially in New York. So you're gonna have a lot of options to go explore the different types of trails, and areas of New York you may not have been able to. All right. So now with the sun and water safety covered, here in New York, it's very important to take precautions when you're having fun outdoors. So New York has ticks in highlands and the grass. Some ways to remain safe from the bugs and ticks are to wear high socks when you're going on hikes. You want to spray bug spray, especially the deep forest bug spray if you're going on hikes in woody areas. And you're gonna want to check your body after activities for any bug or tick bites. Um, if you ever had a bug or tick bite, or the way to know you may have one, you may not even feel one, but just want to check your body for any new markings, such as a tiny dot or a pink raised dot or rash that can indicate that there may be a tick or a tick bite. So you want to stay cautious about that. And if you can find the tick, the best way is to remove it. If you have any weird symptoms or rash after being outside, you're going to want to go see a medical professional just to get a second look. And another way is to stay on paths and sidewalks. If there are on a hike, over if there's areas of tall grass, if there's a way that you're able to stay on a path or a sidewalk, that's the best way to stay safe from bugs and ticks.
I know one thing. Another thing they say is that when you're going to be out in the woods, like you take your socks and put them over your pants so they can't like ticks and bugs can't get up
Yes,
inside your pants and crawl up your leg and stuff.
yes,
Still,
that's a great idea.
they say to
Yep,
do too.
yes, definitely. That's a great way to keep safe from the ticks. And it's also important to note that ticks can actually stay onto your clothing as well. So even that's a great way to stay safe from the ticks. but you're always gonna want to check, even if you're covered, your legs are covered, you're gonna want to check, especially under your armpit areas, on your neck, and then on even if your ankles are covered fully, you're gonna want to check on your clothes just because ticks can hold on to your clothing and then they can crawl their way up. So once you're done with your walk or hike, just check quickly, just do a check and make sure you don't see any bugs crawling around or any different markings that you didn't have before the walk.
Know what I usually do if I'm working out in my backyard doing stuff,
Mhm.
and I usually maybe mow the little part of the lawn that the state owns. So if I'm out there working, so what I do before I go out there, I take my bathrobe, I put it by the basement down there. Then I put my slippers down there. So when I go down there, I change all my clothes, leave them down there, and then I just put my robe on and come back up and I throw the stuff in the washer and,
Yeah,
and wash it right away.
yeah, that's a great way, very proactive way to stay safe from the bugs. That's
Yep.
a great way. Okay. So we've covered a lot of information. To wrap things up, I want to leave you with just some reminders and ways to stay safe outdoors as athletes all summer long. So as we talked about, you want to stay hydrated with lots of water throughout the day. Using a reusable water bottle if you have one that's your favorite, or you just have one at home. You want to fill it up once it becomes empty, just to remind yourself to keep on sipping that water. You want to wear loose, light clothing that can help your body stay cool during hot temperatures. Um, Check the weather before heading out in the sun if there's a heat wave, which is weather hotter than the usual climate, or warnings of high temperature, just as we have this week. It's okay to take a rest day and stay inside a cool building with fans and air conditioning if you feel like it may be a little bit too hot to partake in physical activity or your sports. And always listen to your body. If you start to feel hot or overworked, take a break. If you you can have shorter workout sets in hot temperatures. That way, you know you're letting your body rest and you can um, be the best you can be. If you are a bit hot, just take a break and just sip on some water. It's really okay to take breaks, especially in the hot heat. It's very important to remind yourself of that. You're all great athletes. You work very hard. So the best way to keep playing the sports you love is by taking care of yourself. With these summer tips, you'll be able to learn how to stay safe during the heat, in the water, and having fun. All right, these are my references. And thank you very much for joining. If you have any questions or comments or just want to talk about some things we talked about that relates to your summer plans, we have some time for that.
Um, my probably my summer plans, I'll probably just be working around my house outside and in my garden. I like to watch it grow and how big it gets. I got like I say all total counting the cherry tomato plants. I got like about two or three cherry tomato plants, and I got like about
Okay.
6 or 7 big boy tomato plants, and about maybe 8 cucumber plants, but two different styles. And then I got red and green and red, green, and yellow peppers, sweet pepper.
Wow,
Yeah, so
that's
I
a
feel
great
like
garden you got there.
you're really hitting like a bunch of different like aspects of like the health
yeah,
portion with like the
Yes,
garden because like you're working in your garden, there's the physical activity, like
yeah,
you can eat the vegetables, that's like nutrition, they're healthy, and then also those vegetables are probably really hydrating too
yep.
because they have a lot of water.
They're doing. It.
yes.
Usually, I would cut some up. I buy them in the store now, but when they come out, I usually would cut them up and take them to work and snack on them during the day.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
I leave
that
them
is a
on
great
my
idea.
desk. I can't bring them downstairs on the loading dock where I work at because they don't allow no food or beverage on the loading dock where your deliveries come in at for safety.
Nice.
So
Do you cook a lot with them too?
I usually do. I usually would like maybe like I would make like let me see what I usually make. I would cut up peppers and put them in like different like soups.
Mm-hmm.
I, I
Oh,
might put
great.
them in the soup. I might put them in like if I make peppers and onions and sausages,
Mm-hmm.
and I might make let's see what else I usually make tomatoes. I might make just like bacon BLTs
Nice. Yeah.
and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If I make it, then what else? I put them in salads, cut them up in salads.
Mm,
I do. So I
Nice.
usually
yeah.
like put 'em- and sometimes I might just I get so many of them I might just give them away to some of my friends. I do,
Yeah.
but I can't I
That's
can't
great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
yeah, I
sure
can't
they
use
very
them
much
all.
enjoy that.
Yeah. I remember back a years ago when I lived on my old street. This was when my parents was alive. Probably back like in 19 probably 90 something. My mom died in 92, my dad in 96. So back before that, we would have a big yard where we used to rent at, and it was like maybe about I say maybe 100 by 100 feet. And so what we did, I we got a toter and we toted it all up and we would plant. We would have like about 50 tomato plants, 50 cucumber plants, different things we would grow out there, to peppers and onions and everything. So we get so many of them. Next door to my house used to be a police garage where they fill up the cars with gas. So my father would give them to the people in the police garage, hand them over the fence to them, and those shopping bags, and my neighbors and stuff. So every year they asked my father, they used to say, "Oh, are you growing your garden this year?" My father goes, "Yeah, we are." He goes, "We enjoy those nice homegrown tomatoes and everything you give us and cucumbers. They're so
Yeah.
delicious." He said,
Nice. Yeah, that is always nice. I had a family friend who grew asparagus last year, and I love like homegrown asparagus. It's so good.
"Yeah,
And they moved to Florida. So
yeah,
Uh,
I won't be getting any this year, but it's okay. But
wow."
I was really looking forward to it. I'm like, hey, where's so and so's asparagus?
right.
And they're like, no, not happening. He's
You're
gone.
looking at your account and at your time, you go, "Oh, not too far away. Pretty soon if you putting a garden in,
Right.
no
Yeah.
garden is good."
hmm
But
Um,
Yeah, that's great though.
yeah.
yeah, it
Jenna,
is.
I did have one question about the beach flags. So, did one of them say red over yellow? Like, does that mean that they're both up at the same time?
So that flag, it's like the colors are on one flag itself.
Oh,
It's just a
okay.
split flag. Yeah, so that means that the lifeguards are present. It's usually red over yellow because it's mo more likely during the when the waves are like on that yellow flag warning. So it's
Okay.
just a bit rougher. But sometimes they'll be up just as is. But also it's important to note that not always are those flags up. So at some
Yeah.
beaches, if the lifeguards are patrolling everything, you may
Mhm.
just see the yellow or green flag. So it's just always important to make sure that there's a lifeguard there. But if you see
Okay.
that flag, that means the lifeguard is patrolling that area.
Okay. So it would be safe to swim as long as the lifeguard is there?
Yeah,
Okay.
always take precaution because it can be
Yeah.
rough water still. But yeah,
Yeah.
that means that that flag means that there's lifeguards. And if you see that flag, you should be able to look and see the lifeguards patrolling that area, like usually on their big chairs.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one before, so I was just curious about
Yeah,
that.
that one it's only at some places. That's why I wanted to just add it just in case you saw it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's like just one flag though. It's just like a split flag. The only flag that's like the two flags are the double red flags, which
Okay.
means like the water's closed.
Gotcha. All right, cool. I
Yeah.
have this made me think of something that happened when I was at the beach last summer, and this might be kind of like putting you on the spot, so it's okay if you don't know. But last summer I went on vacation with my family in Maine, and usually this never happens because usually the water is like very cold, but this year the water was pretty warm and there were like jellyfish all over.
Mm,
And they were like being washed up on the beach, and there were like a ton in the water too. So,
yeah.
do you have any tips on that? Or like if you were to get stung by a jellyfish?
The best practice if you get stung by a jellyfish is honestly going to the first aid area at the
Yeah.
beach, just because people don't usually get stung by jellyfish that often, so you won't know if you're gonna have an allergic reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if you see a bunch of jellyfish, sometimes you will see that purple flag waving, but a lot of people don't know what the purple flag means.
Yeah.
Um, that's just if there are jellyfish, sometimes they'll be up. That's an extra precaution that you are gonna be swimming in water with some wild animals that may sting you. But yeah, if you see a bunch of jellyfish, I'd recommend just waiting, seeing if you're on vacation, maybe just waiting a day, seeing how if it goes away or not with the currents of the water.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you get stung by a jellyfish, I would definitely recommend first keeping an eye on it, making sure like you are know where it is and how big it is, and seeing if
Hmm.
it changes over time. If it gets bigger over time or you feel it really hot, or it's
Hmm.
hot to the touch, that's when you're really gonna want to see a medical professional. But yeah, if you get stung by a stingray, I would say just go to the lifeguard stand or they have first aid shacks usually at most of the bigger lakes or oceans. So
Hmm.
yeah, I would say go to just seek first aid and just make sure they can evaluate it.
Okay. That's good advice. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did because I was like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna avoid it
Yes.
altogether until it clears up. It was kind of towards the end of the vacation, but I just started
Oh yeah.
with that and I'm like, yeah, I'm going again in a couple weeks, so hopefully there won't be too many, but we'll see.
Yeah. I hope not for you.
Yeah. All
But
right.
don't they usually have like it looks like one of those flags, like the American Red Cross up on the beach that shows you where they located at?
Yes, for the first aids, yeah, they'll usually have that. That's a great, yes, that's great to understand where that is. Especially when you're going to like a new beach or somewhere that you may not be familiar with. Just knowing where all the lifeguard stands are, and then once again, how Kevin said, the first aid areas, most of them will have those flag looking things like the Red Cross or the first aid look sign. Sometimes they'll just be under like a lifeguard office where the first aid will be. So just knowing where that is, especially before heading out in the water or if you're outside tanning, it's good to know where all the safety precautions are throughout the beach.
Another good thing is too, if you go into a beach, you go to I think they have, if they have a visitor center there, maybe you can get a map and they will probably tell you on the map where things are located at too. You could
Yes, definitely.
and stuff.
That is a great idea. That reminds me of too for going on hikes and going on paths, knowing the routes that you're on, making sure if it's a new route, looking at the route before you go on it, or having a map and knowing the first aid where they may be on the route or before going on a hike is very important as well.
Mhm.
And going on a hike with a buddy as well is very important.
Yeah.
That's remind me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Do you have any other,
Yes.
anyone have any other, by anyone, I guess I just mean Kevin, but I don't know what happened to our other guests, but do you have any other questions? I think that was all I had.
Yeah, I can't think of nothing
Great.
else. I can't.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
thank you, Jenna. That was very informative, very helpful. And I really appreciate you putting that together and sharing that with us. Um, Kevin, I hope your garden continues to flourish this summer
Yes.
and that you have a great summer. Um, but yeah, I think that's really all that I have. So we can, get like an extra 10 minutes or so back for our evening. But thank you guys for coming. Thank you again, Jenna, for presenting. I will share the recording, which will be posted on our Special Olympics New York YouTube channel, as which they are every month. And I'll share Jenna's presentation with anyone who, signed up tonight. And yeah, well, thank you all so much. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night.
I just want to
Yes.
thank
Thank
Jenny
you.
too. Thank you for being on tonight, teaching us safety and how to stay safety and use screen. You're taking your time out to do this for us. I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, Kevin. Yes. Thank you
Well,
for joining. I very much enjoyed doing this presentation with you. So thank you for joining.
you too. Thank you. And but I want to wish you all both happy 4th of July.
You
So
Yes,
too.
you too.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Stay safe.
You too. Thanks.
Have a good night.
You too. Good night.